Hello and welcome to the She is Tech podcast. This is a space for growth, inspiration, and change. Here we talk to women in tech about things that matter: career and life, leadership and motherhood, breaking barriers, and making breakthroughs. This podcast is brought to you by Intellias. My name is Yuliia Hemberg, and today's episode is a very special one. We are diving into something that doesn't often get enough spotlight in our industry: vulnerability. How being real rather than perfect can actually spark creativity and bring us closer to our most authentic selves. And who better to explore this with than someone who lives and breathes this philosophy? Let me introduce you Anna Lebedieva, Talent Marketing Director at Intellias. Hi Anna, how are you doing?
Hi, very nice to hear you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today. How is your day going?
Great, thank you. It's a bit cloudy in Berlin, but still it feels like summer is almost here.
Finally, we've been waiting for it for a long time. Okay,
Yeah.
so as usually, we start with intro. Tell us a bit about yourself, about your background, about your current work, because today we're going to talk about, as I've already mentioned, vulnerability and creativity and leadership. So tell us a bit about yourself so we can clearly see and clearly understand you and your background and why we're talking on this topic with you specifically.
Yeah, sure. Happy to. I'm Anna Lebedieva, and I currently lead the employer brand and talent marketing function in Intellias. I've spent over 14 years in strategic marketing and branding at all, both on the agency and corporate sides. I used to work at a leading Ukrainian creative agency called Fedorip, where I led brand transformations, different projects for well-known companies in Ukraine and beyond, from fast-moving consumer brands to some fintech companies and logistics and other industries. And if we talk about my background, is rooted in storytelling, creative strategy, and shaping brands that truly resonate. Beyond that, I'm someone who has been on a long journey of exploring my own identity through different tools. It was psychology, different spiritual practices, and a lot of deep listening to myself, I would say. And at Intellias, this actually helps me to understand people better, my team, employees, potential audience, our candidates, care about how people feel at work and build a culture where it's more like human-centered and meaningful. If I focus on the essence of what I do, I see my role as developing a brand for a company where real, talented, and authentic individuals work. People with their strengths and their vulnerabilities. I'd say that my goal at Intellis is to shape a culture of empathy, support, and synergy. At the same time, I work to find the right angle to present our strengths in new markets so the top talents want to join us. So, in short, I help build a successful global tech company with a soul and a unique voice. And if I would speak about what excites me about this role, is how much creativity involved from deep, thoughtful storytelling and strategic thinking to, for example, experimenting with some new approaches, tools, and new channels. Even every visual we shape externally matters deeply to me. So I care about protecting the company's DNA and making sure our brand reflects its true character. And when it comes to leadership, I truly believe it's a deeply creative job because you need to create teams, you need to create connections, you need to make fast decisions sometimes, and you need to stay inventive under, for example, cost pressure or some other pressure. And you have to find new ways to engage and inspire people, especially in times of change and turbulence.
Nice. Thank you for the intro. I'm really fascinated and thrilled to hear about all of those insights that will appear during our conversation today as we're talking about creativity, leadership, etc. Let's start with the creativity and from the hard question, I would say, because as what I see, a lot of people from creative fields, and I think that a lot of our listeners are from such fields. Nowadays, they are struggling with doing their job because of this really fast changing, challenging as never before environment that we have now. So, for you personally, what helps you stay creative and inspired despite everything that's going on around us?
Yeah, sure, I agree completely. And let me start from the very beginning. That generally, I don't think people are either creative or not. I believe that creativity lives in our individuality, in our authenticity, in our playfulness, and in something that we used to have this childish curiosity. We all were born with it, so it's not something that is changing with the time. I mean, it is, of course, but the more comfortable we feel being ourselves in different environments, the more creative and unique we naturally become. That's what I really believe in. But it's not an easy as it sounds. We all start as curious, inventive kids, and then life happens. And then we build layers of fear, our insecurities, some shame, expectations from the society, from our colleagues, from our management, and different social norms, and all of those. So we stop being ourselves and start performing more than being truly ourselves. So to return to who we are, to hear yourself and allow yourself to show up as you are, that's actually deep work, I would say. And honestly, it's never ending work. So, especially in a corporate world, being yourself can feel like a risk. There is the fear or some insecurities to not fit in somewhere, or not to meet some expectations, or being judged, or being rejected, even sometimes. That's why I believe that it takes real courage to be vulnerable. And vulnerability, for me, more grounded in strengths than in weaknesses. And this is what inspires other people, and this is how you can become a real role model, I believe. So yeah, what helps me personally reconnect with myself are daily practices, mostly through the body. Things like, for example, meditation. It can be yoga, sound healing practices, and there is not just routines. They are ways to slow down, to be grounded, and to recalibrate your inner compass, let's say. So what else I can say? Maybe traveling can help. Different books, games where you have this imaginary worlds where you can be a kid again. Some dancing, letting yourself to be silly sometimes, playing with kids, maybe playing with a dog, allowing ourselves to come out and um, to show up. So it's like a photo developing in a dark room. At first, it's just a blank negative, and then with a bit of light, a bit of presence, the real image starts to show up, just as it is, no filters. I think the same with people. So you need to show up at some point.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your tools and practices. It's really important. And, one of the goals of our podcast is also to inspire for some new approaches, new ideas, etc. So thank you for sharing that. And you mentioned, this childish approach thing. And I remembered one of the concepts that I really like. That's okay. We have a inner child and inner adult, and it's a great idea to apply those roles on yourself when it needed, like when you need to pay your bills or do the job, you
Yeah,
apply the adult one. And when you need to find some creative solution, when you need to, as you said, to show up, this is the right moment to wear this child role, on yourself, to
true.
reconnect with your inner child. So thank you for that. But actually, when I'm thinking about this, being a bit childish, being playful, etc., it also awakes in me, some a bit of anxiety, because this is pretty vulnerable position, to be open to the world, to be open to other people, and especially in the corporate world. Sounds a bit frightening,
True.
but like you need to go for some risks if you want to get more. So please tell us a bit more about your approach to vulnerability, because as from what I see, you're the real ambassador of it. So how did you came up to this idea? What made you start thinking this way?
I used to think leadership was about always having the answers, kind of being in control. And that mindset is still sometimes present in the corporate world, especially in environments shaped by, let's say, old-fashioned male leadership models, where showing emotions or uncertainty is often seen as weakness. But how unsustainable and limiting that actually is. The strongest teams I've worked with, the ones that truly built something meaningful, were led by people who had the courage to say, I don't know, or for example, this is hard, or I need some help. And for me, that's what builds trust, actually. That's what makes people lean in and want to contribute and to be responsible and people who you can rely on. Also, for me, some kind of insight was to find Brené Brown. I love listening to her a lot and reflecting on how much energy we waste trying to protect ourselves when the real strength lies in showing up fully. And she says vulnerability is not weakness, it's our greatest measure of courage. So it resonates a lot to me, and I'm listening to her a lot of speeches, and also she has this Netflix episode, very exciting one. I would recommend to all of you guys to get to know her better. And yeah, for women especially, there is this double bind. If you're too assertive, you're too much. If you're too soft, you are not enough, you know? So vulnerability actually lets you break that binary. It's not about being emotional for the sake of it or oversharing, but it's about being real and leading with presence. And yeah, that takes guts.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I also adore Brené Brown and her, this courage of being vulnerable concept that she's promoting.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you for that. And thank you for your media recommendation, serious recommendation. Let's move forward with being real, because this is exactly something that's pretty close to vulnerability. For you personally, what does being real means? Not as a concept, but as everyday actions. What you personally do or implement in your life that helps you to embrace this being real concept.
Yeah, to me, being real means, as I already said, it's about showing up. It means not being afraid of my emotions, to feel anger and not shallow it, to feel excitement and share this, to say thank you, or, for example, this really inspired me when it's true. Of course, not like fake these phrases or emotions, but to say when you mean it. It's giving feedback when it matters, not just waiting for this formal schedule check-in, you know. It's making a mistake and owning it. It's sometimes apologizing when you are wrong. It also having days when you have this shine inside and out, and also having days when you're just don't, and giving yourself permission to take a break, for example. Also, it's having sometimes really tough conversations, but in calm, constructive way, which means listening, going to the root of the issue, and hearing both sides. And sometimes also it's about saying in front of your whole team, I don't have a solution right now. Maybe we can figure it out together. Maybe somebody can help me. So at the core, I would say it's all about being human, with full spectrum of emotions, with your strengths and flaws, and not trying to be liked by everyone. It's not possible. Probably not everyone knows it, but it is what it is. And yeah, it's just being true to yourself, and being stick to your values, and not being afraid to show different sides of who you are. Those sides can be perfect or good enough, or even not perfect, and maybe not the best your sides also.
Great examples. Thank you. And this is what I hear a lot recently, that companies, teams, they want to be more authentic and be comfortable with this. But this is like, in a words, what about the actions? You personally, how do you foster such authentic, real approach in your team? Which behavior you encourage with your team?
Yeah, well, I think I try to lead by example. I show up as myself. I hope so. They feel it, with all my strengths and imperfections. And I'm trying to talk to people like humans, first of all, not job titles. I ask real questions. I care about their stories, and they try to make it safe to be honest. Even if it means saying, I'm not okay today. This is where trust begins. I hope my team feels it and they do feel comfortable. But yeah, I guess you would have to ask them directly.
Okay, thank you. But even lead by example is a huge thing. Being vulnerable first with your team, not waiting for them to be vulnerable in the first place, is like requires a lot. And by the way, being in human-centered position, it's as I said, a lot, but also I think requires from a person to maintain the healthy balance between personal life and work life. How do you do? How do you mix these two worlds together? Do you have any successes in here, or maybe just lessons learned as for now?
Yeah, I think lessons learned always, new lessons. We can't stop learning. It's actually, yeah, like ultimate learning. It is the life. But I would say the remote format of working and our global setup help a lot, I guess, because we are all spread across countries and mostly working through our laptop screen. And I don't get to see my team in person very often. So I appreciate it when we do meet. I actually miss that connection a lot. and miss this whole office life. But office life also means that you share more because you see each other, you talk more outside of meetings, you know. But when it comes to my boundaries, it all comes down to mutual respect. Generally, I believe that all great connections and relationships are built on respect, first of all, and then probably love if it is your like partner or your family or your kids. But also, for example, with friends, the best friendship for me is built on respect, on mutual respect. When you respect the time of another person, when you respect the plans of another person, when you respect their boundaries, you know, and their weaknesses as well. So you treat a lot with disrespect. So at work, you don't message people outside of working hours. You ask if it is a good time to talk or to call. You don't push into someone's personal space unless they invite you in. These are basic things, but they matter. And yeah, I don't find it hard to set my boundaries. I treat people the way I want to be treated, and that usually sets the tone. In a healthy culture, like I feel at Intellias, for example, boundaries don't need to be set. They just work. And what also helpful is giving people a bit of a manual on how you operate, how you work. Like, you know, this manual to a dishwasher, the same as a manual to a person. For example, this works for me better, this doesn't work, this would be helpful, this is useless. That way, I believe collaboration becomes easier, both at work and in life as well.
Yeah, we all are humans, and sometimes just a real talk is enough to make all things clear. I agree for sure. Okay, thank you for these insights. And I think to wrap up our conversation and all the topics we discussed: vulnerability, leadership, creativity, authenticity, maybe a few pieces of advice from you. For example, some of our listeners will be inspired by our conversation today and will like to add a bit more of authenticity to their everyday life and maybe even to their corporate life, work life. What practical first steps would you recommend to them?
That's a great question. There are so many things you can do to uh, practice, to train your vulnerability, because it's also creativity and vulnerability, both are kind of a muscle. So you need to train it. But let's find some like little tips or advice. I would say start small. You don't need to shop fully open in every space to every person. Try sharing a little more of what you think or feel. Maybe give someone honest appreciation or ask a real question in a meeting instead of just a formal one. You can also practice vulnerability with yourself first. Do something that feels unfamiliar or imperfect. For example, find a new hobby, a skill that you're afraid to fail at. So when we try new things, we feel a bit like sometimes awkward, sometimes stupid, sometimes very unexperienced. And this is where vulnerability starts, where you feel uncomfortable. So that's okay. Vulnerability often comes with discomfort. That's actually a part of the work. So, most importantly, I would say stay curious about yourself, reflect a lot, listen to your own reactions. What was bad, what was sad, what was good, where you were excited, where you were motivated, and where you, I don't know, were disappointed. Like, like try to notice all of those reactions, and maybe even try to make a diary. Like you follow your reactions, and then you just put it on the notebook. And the more self-aware you are, the easier it becomes to be real with others. So I would say authenticity isn't a performance. It's a practice, and it gets easier the more you allow it. You don't need to be loud or bold. Just start being a little more you. That's already a very powerful act.
Nice. I really like this thing that for being yourself, first you need to find yourself and then
True.
just practice and live yourself. Okay.
Right, right.
Thank you, Anna, for this conversation. I feel that it was, a bit more honest conversation than all of the rest because of the topic, because of the speaker. So thank you for this. And I hope that our listeners will practice this authenticity and being real approach during their next, I don't know, work meetings or planning, etc. Let us know in the comment. We'll be curious to get to know a bit more about your experience. Thank you
Right.
one more time for
Thank
sharing
you
all
for
of those
having me.
insights.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to the She Is Tech podcast. We hope this conversation reminded you that being real is not a weakness, it's your strength. Our mission is to unite and inspire women in tech. Be part of our community by following the She Is Tech LinkedIn page. Just follow the link in the episode description. You can also share this episode to help us amplify women's voices. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got more interesting conversations coming. Until next time, take care and keep striving for change.